right, welcome back, Kings and Queens. Today we are talking Married to Medicine, y'all, reunion part two. Ooh, Married to Medicine, man, those girls got a lot of shit going on over there. And so do the men. So do the men. I was talking to somebody that's taking my YouTube class, and I'm really looking forward to her coming out on YouTube. And we were brainstorming what type of content she should do today in her one on one. And initially, she was looking to go in one direction, right? And I'm like, okay, so she's kind of giving me the rundown on that. And then she said something before we hung up the call. She said, but I'm an ex barber and I used to cut hair for 20 plus years. And I've dealt with men all of my life and I can read them like a book. That's how I knew Marcel was a cheater. That's how I knew that this guy was a cheater. That's how I knew that that guy was a cheater. She's like, I've been around them. And when I hear people say, my husband would never, Dr. Heavenly, lean in. She said, when I hear women say my husband would never, she said, I pause. And I always want to say, you have no idea. And I was like, girl, that's it. You need to come out. You need to start a page and you need to talk about men. You have hands-on experience that money cannot buy. And with that being said, Dr. Heavenly, my question to you, are you sure? Are you sure, girl? Now, I don't know if Dr. Damon is he is or is he ain't your baby. But one thing I've learned is never say never. Never say never. As much as you've done and said about other women and other couples, girl, you got your nerves, but we're going to talk about it. Let's get to it. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
Let me tell you something, or let me share something. See, Andy's getting tired of you, Dr. Heavenly. I strongly believe that you are on his, like my mama used to say, you on his last nerve. I think he got one last nerve to give, and honey, I think you are on it. Because in my opinion, and what I believe, and based on his tone, his body language, and he also ran down a timeline. Andy gave a strong indication to me that he's tired of your shit. He's tired of you and your sabotaging ways. He's tired of you sabotaging his show. Did he say it in that manner? No. But the fact that he said, it's been 10 years, and each and every year, I have to talk to you. And we've talked to you about your social media antics. Girl, let me tell you something. I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. That's a nice way of saying, I'm warning you. That's a nice way of saying, I've already put you on notice. That's a very nice and Caucasian way of saying, you got one more time before you F around and find out. You got one more time before you F around and you find out. Heavenly, I believe the clock is ticking for you. You may not know it, but they're tired of you. And when I say they, y'all, listen, I don't think them people give a damn if the cast are tired of her. I think the higher ups are tired of her. I think at one point you was just a clown for the circus. Now it's not funny anymore. It's not funny anymore. Now you've become a nuisance, a menace to society as it relates to all things reality television. And you're untamable. You're like a wild boar. And I'm not calling her that. I'm saying her antics. You're here, you're there, you're everywhere. And I think he's tired of it. And it's not until they get tired of it that they decide to do something about it. And I think you got maybe a year, maybe two at max before you'll be asked not to return if you keep up in the same manner that you've continued. What are your thoughts? Did y'all catch that when when Andy said that? Okay. That's all I'm saying. I feel like if Heavenly isn't careful, she's gonna find herself without a job. She's gonna find herself without a job. And she's gonna have to pivot, and she's gonna have to pivot soon. Girl, you're gonna have to figure out a different strategy because you talk too damn much as it relates to that show. You always got something to say. Okay, now she's probably done a little bit better about waiting until the end of the season to talk that shit. But I feel like she puts on more of a show for social media than she does for the camera. And it's like, what are we really here for? What are we investing in? We get her to talk like they get you talk more on social media than you say regarding your own life. I wouldn't want to pay you. I would feel like I'm being cheated out of my investment if I were a higher up, if I were an investor, because I need to know a little bit more about this daddy daycare when it comes to Damon and this white woman, allegedly. I need to know a little bit more about your son being arrested, okay? Trying to fight the police. I need to know all of this damn dirt. Now you have this propensity to pull out everybody else's business, but none of us knew none of this shit was going on in your life. Bravo, presser. I need a full court press immediately. First quarter next season, I need you to press her. And if you can't find somebody to press her, bring me on the show. I'll press her ass. I'll press her because she's gotten away with murder. Okay. And we don't really know what's going on in her home. She controls the narrative when it comes to Bravo. And I'm kind of tired of it. She controls the narrative when it comes to the other cast members. And she's just been allowed to run amok. And it's time that you reel her in, Bravo, or you replace her. That's my opinion. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I feel like they've been more than kind. I kind of appreciate that when they feel like they have something, by the way, by like, when they have like these women that are problems, white, black, yellow, brown, because they do make good TV. When you think about the Nene Leakes, Kenya Moore's, Dr. Heavenly, Giselle Bryant's, I'm just calling out people that y'all have taken up issue with, not necessarily that I've taken up issue with. Because out of those four, I really like two of them. I got two in a possible, right? And then, Bethany Frankel, Ramona Singer, Ramona Luann, all of them. Bravo has a lot of patience because they understand what makes money. But at the end of the day, they will not allow you to jeopardize their franchise. And a lot of women, when they've received their exit, they never saw it coming. They never saw it coming. Bravo kind of reminds me of the FBI. They allow you to go and go and go and go and go. Go and go and go and go and go. It's almost like not allow. It's almost like they create monsters. And these monsters, by way of these big personalities, become so comfortable being disrespectful and toxic that they think that they are legend. And nothing's going to happen to me. And then, boom, they hit rock bottom. Bravo yanks the rug from beneath their feet. And most of them do not recover well. I don't give a damn how much money they have. Most do not recover well. And the reason why they don't recover well, because it's such a blow to their egos that they come on social media, they begin to blast the network, Nene Leakes, Bethany Frankel, Brandy Glanville, who else? Who else has blasted the network? They blast the network and they literally blackball themselves. And if Dr. Heavenly is not careful, she'll have no one to blame but herself. They've been more than kind to you. And the sad thing about it is, if and when they do pull the rug from beneath your feet, I'm not sure anybody will pick you up as it relates to being able to work in TV. Okay? I don't know. Marriage boot camp, perhaps? What else can you see her on? Family Feud, perhaps? I don't know. What do you if she doesn't return to Bravo, what can you see her doing? I don't even think Carlos King would pick you up and put you on any of his shows. Now that's bad. And I say that, and I'm not even trying to be messy. I'm not trying to be funny. Isn't it funny how so-called friends will hype you up to show your ass in somebody else's home, but not their own? Carlos let you, he hyped you up and y'all had a good run as it relates to Messy Mondays. And he let you do everything underneath the sun and laugh, yes, girl, as it relates to tearing up your own franchise until Bravo put a spike boot on your mouth and said, don't talk about our show anymore. You can go over there and act a monkey. You can be a clown and you can be a fool and you can do all that Love and Marriage Huntsville stuff. Don't talk about our stuff no more. and you shut up because you knew you wanted to keep your job. Does she need to keep her job for the money? I don't think it's about the money. I think this show has been a lifeline for her. I think it revitalized her as a woman. I think this show gives her a social fuel. I believe the people when they say you and daddy daycare, sleep in different rooms. I believe the people when they say, love don't live here anymore. Now, do I rejoice in that for you? Absolutely not. But I think that's why you're so mean. Yeah. Mama say alligators are mean and ornery because they ain't got no teeth, no toothbrush to brush their teeth. Water boy. Y'all know what I mean. Have you seen that movie? Water boy. When he said, Mama say the reason why, Mama say it. The reason why alligators are so mean and ornery because they ain't got no toothbrush to brush their teeth. Heavenly. And if this show, y'all, if she's not asked back to this show, I think that lady would lose her mind in that basement. I do. I think that lady would lose her mind in that basement. Heavenly, I don't think your marriage is what you pose it to be. That's the gag. I don't think your marriage is what you pose it to be. And if you don't straighten up and scare your own self straight, you're going to find yourself in misery. And you're going to find yourself off that show. And you're going to find out how quickly those women are not your friends, especially Dr. Jackie. Can I go on? I wasn't even supposed to be reading down like this today. I was just supposed to come on really quick, do a recap of Married to Medicine, and go on about my damn business. This should have been Monday night party in the chat, if the truth be told. But I think it's funny how people will sit back and watch you act a damn fool and mess up your opportunity, but they're not going to mess up theirs. I don't think Carlos King would even hire you. I don't. I could be wrong, but I don't. That's it. That's all. I believe you have posed and you put yourself, as it relates to other women, you become somewhat of a liability. People aren't going to want to work with you. People are going to feel like you're going to attack them, ambush them. And you're too old for that, in my opinion. Girl, you're supposed to be resting in your divine femininity. You're supposed to be a coach on these shows. Not literally, but you're supposed to be up, propped up on these shows as an expert. And you're not. You're a loose cannon. You're uncensored in the worst way. And I'm just telling it like it is. And you're too old. You're too old to be coached into greatness. See, it's not her age. It's just her mind and the way she thinks and her repeated toxic behaviors. So she's too old to coach up to get her to change. She ain't going to change. Okay. She's stuck in her ways. Period. So because you're pig-headed and because you're stubborn, if they get rid of you, now you know. Now you know. That's all I'm saying. What are y'all's thoughts? I was supposed to just cover this little thing and go on about my business. But Jackie, y'all. Jackie, Dr. Jackie, I get tired of you acting like Heavenly deserves redemption and everybody should bow down and just have this conversation with this woman. Quit the Dr. Heavenly ministry. You may be able to stomach her because she's your puppet, but no one else has that type of stock invested in her foolery. Girl, let her and Contessa fall out. Let the fallout begin. Let the games begin. Some people are not relatable. Some people we just don't want to be in relationship with. I don't know about you all, but I'm the kind of bitch, once you go to a certain point with me, we ain't having no conversation. You went there. And girl, if that's how you go there on an ordinary day, I can't stomach that. Everybody's not like you, Dr. Jackie. Everybody don't want to be around that bullshit. And maybe it's because, what's his name? Curtis goes off to the Dominican Republic for half the month. You have the patience to deal with Dr. Heavenly, but not us. Not us. So let the fallout be the fallout between Dr. Contessa and Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly betrayed Dr. Contessa in the worst way. Everybody gets to say what their boundaries are. Respect Contessa's boundaries. That's it. That's all. She don't fool with Heavenly. She don't want nothing to do with Heavenly. Stop trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho when it comes to Heavenly and let it go. That's all I'm saying, y'all. That's all I'm saying. What's done is done between those two. Heavenly crossed her. Ain't much you can do after a friend goes to social media to talk about your marital business. It's a wrap. Somebody let Dr. Jackie know it's a wrap. And then I guess Heavenly didn't like Andy's comment and she forgot whose home she was in. And she said, Andy, would you like for me to stop my social media? See, I would have just been quiet after that. But she can't control her mouth. And my thing is, I was sitting there like, girl, nobody should have to tell you how far is too far. You are a grown woman. You know you go too far. Now you're going to challenge the man and say, what you want me to do? Just stop my social media? Is that what you want? You too old to be talking that much. You're too old to have something to say to every single thing. Everything does not need to be a comeback. I was just sitting there watching. That's what I mean, uncoachable. She's stuck in her ways. Ain't nothing gonna change. Her role on the show will and always remain the same. She's an antagonist. You know? Hell, I believe that amount of talking, when you talk like that, Dr. Heavenly, every day, all day, you're all over social media. Is that not a sin to talk that much? Let me Google that. Let me look. Hold on. Let me figure out. Hold on. Hell, I knew I was somewhere up in the wheelhouse. I was close. So yeah, my grandmother used to say that. So I had to look it up. Is it a sin to talk too much? And AI says, while the act of talking itself is not a sin, the Bible warns against excessive or harmful speech, suggesting that when words are many, transgression is not lacking. So if you go to Proverbs, yeah, we're going to have church a little bit today. Pull up a seat on this beautiful Friday night. If you go to Proverbs 10:19, the scripture reads, when words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent. This verse suggests that excessive talking can lead to sin because it increases the likelihood of saying something harmful, untrue, or unwise. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 3, the scripture reads, a fool can be recognized by his many words. Many words. And when we think about the definition of transgression, it's an offense. It's a crime. It's wrongdoing. So transgression is not lacking. When words are many, offense, wrongdoing is not lacking. I knew it was a damn sin to be talking that damn much. She talks too much. So I don't know. Heavenly, you're a lot. You're a handful. But let's go ahead. Let's go to Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea and the women. I done went off on a damn tangent regarding Dr. Heavenly. When I think about Sweet Tea and the other women, I have to sit back and I'm going to say this. I don't think they like the fact that that man came on that show with his wife by way of Heavenly. What do you mean by that, Queen Sheba? They don't like the way that he came on. Dr. Greg, the women, so are you saying the women do not appreciate that Dr. Greg came on the show invited by Heavenly? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, how come they're not saying anything? That's what scary bitches do. They don't hold each other accountable. They find a weaker target. They find somebody else to blame because they weak and they can't sit down woman to woman and say, actually, this is your fault. I know you're coming for me. I know we're frenemies. But instead of doing that, they're going to pretend that it doesn't exist. And Sweet Tea has been made the problem. Dr. Greg is the problem. Are they perfect? No. Or have they had their childish moments? Absolutely. But so has everybody else. But if the truth be told, and if we really get down to it, the elephant in the room is Quad, is Toya, is Dr. Heavenly. Heavenly brought her onto that show. Heavenly conspired to do damage to Quad's emotional state. Okay? Heavenly did not know that King and Quad would make it. She underestimated the dynamics of that relationship. She wanted to stick it to Quad, but ain't nobody talking about that. Ain't no bad bitches. Ain't no bitches bad enough to talk about that and say that. Everybody gonna skate around it. Nobody wants to be the first to throw the first lick. So instead, let's use Sweet Tea as the scapegoat. Is Sweet Tea perfect? Absolutely not. She has a lot of developing to do if she's going to be successful on this show. I saw a clip of Sweet Tea with her and Dr. Simone. They were like in the kitchen, they were talking. The first one, they were kind of laughing at Quad and talking about Quad's house. Okay, whatever. You know what? That's fine. They all go back and forth. But at one point, the conversation turned, and Dr. Simone was trying to educate her to say, listen, I really think Toya was genuinely interested in having a friendship with you because she invited you to her home. Sweet Tea could not receive that. Sweet Tea, you're going to have to talk less and listen more. You are a student during this period, this phase, this season of your life. You're not the expert. You are new to this. So you're going to have to come in as a student and soak up everything like a sponge. And if you don't, you're going to play yourself because you tried to tell Dr. Simone what it was versus what it wasn't. She knows Toya better than you do. She's been on the show. She's friends with Toya. Genuinely told you. I'm trying to tell you, Toya really wanted to be your friend. Toya invited you into her home. If Toya did not like you like that, she would not fuck with you like that. You didn't receive that. You didn't hear that. You're going to have to say less. You're going to have to say less, Sweet Tea. Okay? Now that, I'm going to stand on business when I say that. But outside of that, and her going toe to toe and always having something to say, Heavenly, you set this up. Heavenly set this ambush up. They keep forgetting that Dr. Heavenly summoned Dr. G from the dead. She summoned that man from the dead. She needed him to come back on the show to fuck with Quad. There are some bitches that don't like you. They are here to hurt you emotionally. They know and they understand that the biggest thing that Quad ever overcame was getting a divorce. Hearing her ex-husband sit on the reunion stage and talk about how he met women. He and his homeboy met him out, took him back to a hotel room and fucked him. Sat it in front of Quad. I think they were almost done divorce. Rubbed it in her face, okay? Same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. And she got his ass back on that retreat. They went tit for tat. Yeah, Quad started that fight on that retreat on the beach. That's true. But Quad is petty. She was getting her lick back from many years ago when he sat there on that reunion stage and embarrassed her. Now you get some hellhounds like by the likes of Dr. Heavenly and anybody else that got beef with Quad. They're sitting there watching that. They know she was embarrassed by that divorce. They knew that she's always felt less than. And I'm not a huge Quad fan, but I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Let's call a spade a spade. Shit, let's keep it real. They sat back and they measured her like a python. Okay, that's the point of pain. That's the entry point. So if we want to get her back, bring him back, let him stun on her, bring his new wife, because nobody anticipated that Quad would be with Queen King in this manner. That's what happened. And so when we say, can Black women get along? Hell to the no, not all of them. Not all of them. You got a few sitting back, calculating, waiting, planning, conniving on how to snake you in the worst way. Let me get to know you. Let me be there for you as you cry. And then, bitch, when you least expect it, surprise, surprise. I'm going to bring your ex-husband on with his new ting. I'm going to befriend her. Yeah. And I'm going to ice you out. But it didn't work that way. It didn't work that way. Granny used to always say, can't no right come from doing wrong. Whatever goes on in the dark will come to light. And the tables turned on their asses, and now they're having to crawl back and kiss Quad's ass. Not Dr. Simone, but the rest of them. Quad is up one. They're down. Fourth quarter. Here we go. Okay? That's it. That's all. What are your thoughts? And before I move on, let's not forget, If you can refresh your memory, can don't you know, let's not forget, or maybe we can conveniently forget that she stabbed her own friend in the back. Okay. Like she did with Simone, Contessa, and now Sweet Tea, meaning Quad. She stabbed Quad in the back like she did with Simone, Contessa, Sweet Tea, Mariah. The list goes on and on and on and on. That's it. Sweet Tea, I'm going to say something. Sometimes it's just good to sit back. Because I'm telling you, you windmilling the hell out of that marriage. You windmilling for that marriage, and that ain't the way it's supposed to be. Now, I ain't trying to tell nobody how to be married or how to be a wife, but sometimes you just got to sit back and be a wife because you are in a defensive position when you should be in an offensive position. You're supposed to have on your pretty dress as a wife, and your husband can speak to some of the things that are being brought up. 2 years to have a child ain't it. Oh, I'm about to piss some people off. I'm sorry, y'all. 2 years to have a child ain't it. And let me tell you what I mean by that. That's just, that's not good. That's not love. That's a lot of pressure. That's control. That's sounds like a business decision, if you ask me. Go ahead and adopt then. If my vagina has a 2 year deadline, then shit, forget it. Let's just adopt. Because you cannot predict what the body's going to do. So for Dr. G to come out and say, you got exactly 2 years, that's it, that's all, it's not like he's Bill Gates. What do you mean by that? Shit, if he had that kind of money, I'll be like, okay, vagina, you are on lock. Girl, we're not having no kids after 2 years, period. Because we're going to be whisked. I'm going to be whisked around the world. I'm going to be jet setting here, there. But in order for you to trade off that for a normal life, no. Mm-mm. That ain't it. That ain't it. I'm sorry. You cannot put a hard stop. He cannot put a hard stop on what should be natural. Sex, intimacy, love. That's natural. I mean, is he going to use a condom? Is he speaking specifically to you're going to stop the fertility treatments? What is the 2 year hard stop specify? Because initially, when you shared it, it brought you to tears. And to me, you cried as a woman because you knew it wasn't right. You knew you were settling. You know that was the exchange in order to keep him. He gets to call that shot because he's in a more favorable position as a quote unquote doctor. Can we keep it real? We talk real over here. Y'all know that ain't right. But I'm just calling it out because I don't think too many people have gotten into detail because it's very uncomfortable to say, but I'll say it. It's called intimacy, reproductive freedom. Dr. Greg, you should have married an old hoe. If you want to cut off in 2 years, you should have married an old hoe, an older woman. But to marry 20 plus years, your junior, and then try to insert pussy control is unbelievable to me. Oh, yeah, I'm going there. Now you want to dominate and insert pussy control. You enjoyed it. You picked it because it was younger. Now all of a sudden that you've enjoyed it. Now you've settled into the routine of being married. Now I don't want that vagina to produce after 2 years. Excuse me? Then you should have married somebody your own age because that would have been a guarantee. She can't help the fact that she's younger. She desires a family, and her vagina just may do what it's going to do as it relates to having children, getting pregnant, okay? She can't stifle her fertility. It ain't no excuse for that type of behavior, in my opinion, from a man who purposely chose a woman 20 something years younger than him. The fuck? Are you okay? Do you need to see a psychiatrist? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Now, imagine if she didn't have complications. If she did not have complications, would you be saying the same thing? If she was just fertile myrtle, spitting babies out here or there, would you be saying the same thing? And what would be your birth control method? Get a vasectomy if you don't want to have kids after 2 years. See how that sounds? So if this girl did not have fibroids and didn't have the issues that she's having, How would that conversation go? I'm very curious to know. Would you force her into birth control? Hmm. I call cap. You would see, here's the thing, sweetie. I ain't trying to be messy. But I really need you to look at this thing and look at it objectively as a woman and not a woman who's with this guy, okay? Because he wanted it all from Quad. But now your eggs got to go on a parking meter and you got a 2-year expiration date. Y'all see the difference? It speaks volumes. It speaks volumes as a person. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. It's giving Handmaid's Tale, for lack of a better description. It's giving Handmaid's Tale for real. Okay. So Sweet Tea and Quad, they go back and forth. She calls Quad or refers to Quad as an alcoholic. Um, and then she ran down that Quad had 2 DUIs. I didn't know that. Quad, take an Uber. Take an Uber. And I wonder if that information came from Dr. Greg. See, Dr. Greg, you being messy now. You can't be pillow talking about your old wife to your new wife. Sweet Tea, that's a red flag. Anytime a nigga want to run his mouth about the one that hurt him, correct him. As a wife, so don't do that. Don't do that. And move on. Don't listen to that kind of stuff from a man. Okay? Because he'll do the same to you. And you hope, God forbid, you guys stay together forever, but you, just in case you don't, you hope you'll meet a woman of that caliber that'll stop him in his tracks and say, I'm not interested. I don't really want to hear it. You shit on your ex-wife. See, that's the kind of woman I need you to be when he bring Quad up. Don't get joy from that. Because he'll do the same to you. That's all I'm saying. If that's how you got that information. They continue to focus on Dr. G's response to Quad, okay? Meaning they were saying he told her to shut the fuck up. Now we know he did. He said, you got a big effing mouth. Quad started that. She started the shit. And thank you, Dr. Simone, for saying it. Because everybody else has amnesia on the stage. Nobody wanted to call it out. Quad was full of it that night. Girl, just say you was trying to get your lick back from the man. Quad gave this whole, what is it called? This big ass story, elaborate story of why she said what she said. Girl, stop. We grown. You got your lick back. You did him dirty that night because of how he did you on that reunion stage, talking about how he slept with those women. You wrong as hell, Mimi. You came on that show by way of Sweet Tea, and then you dumped her for the other ladies. It is what it is. Mimi seems likable. She seems very likable. I just wish she wasn't willing to throw Sweet Tea under the bus by way of the storyline where you were going to trick her to come to your office and then try to do a psychological assessment on her without her full consent. I don't like sneaky stuff like that. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to hold my peace, Mimi. Because maybe you was just doing what you needed to do to get on the show. But listen, if that's how you got to get it, I don't know. I don't know if it'll really be worth it. Let's talk about the men really quick. Um, Dr. Damon, knowing now that we know this, we didn't know this then, but now that we know that you actually referred your patients to Dr. Greg, sir, you should have spoke up when your wife called him a pedophile. How dare you? How dare you shift the blame and call him a coward? You the coward. You're the coward. Your wife drew first blood. Your wife came out and said the most despicable thing about him and called him a pedophile because she could. And you were the coward that tucked your tail between your legs and didn't correct her ass. That's not cool. And now, listen, I said online, listen, now I see why Dr. Damon doesn't talk a lot. They're both alike in some ways. He's just quiet. He's wise. He's smart. He knows to say less. The less you say, the less people can get a read on you. It ain't that he's this nice guy. I used to think he was until I watched his ass sit there and play chess and not checkers and gaslighted the shit out of Dr. Greg. Listen, Dr. Greg, you should have just said, yeah, I ain't fucking with you. I don't want your patience. So I got my leg back by not taking your patience. There's no harm in that. Your wife called me that. You don't come out to correct that shit about my medical reputation. I wouldn't take your patients neither. But where you went wrong, Dr. Grant, is you didn't stand on it. You play this night. They play this nice, nasty game with each other, all of the doctors, right? Instead of standing on business. And then it grows legs. Technically, Dr. Damon, you really don't have anything on him. It's just a cover up. You're just overshadowing the wrongdoing that Heavenly did, and you're putting it all on Dr. Greg when your wife is at fault. You're at fault for not correcting her. You're at fault for not saying, hey, you're going to risk my professional relationships. This is business. I need you to go back out there and apologize. You're the coward. Your wife should have apologized. Your wife should have made that shit right. But she didn't. She doubled down. She was in a fight with Letitia, aka Sweet Tea, and she went for the jugular and she attacked a man. And then she demanded your ass come and stick up for her. And now you're calling him a coward. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. Because it don't make sense to me. I sit back, listen, and watch. But because she's the loudest one in the room, a lot of things can get lost in translation. Not with me. I'm going to sit back. I'm like, this one started it. She did this, but they're not going to say that. Now they're about to run game on you and finesse you, get all in your head and make you think you did some shit wrong, or you should have called, or you should have asked me. I ain't asking you shit. You know what you did, period, point blank. You know what you did. Your wife was out of line. That's it. That's all. You should have said something to her. Your wife went for his bag. Thank you, Cecil. Cecil, thank you for being a voice of reason and calling that shit out. But Dr. Damon wasn't trying to hear it. That's it. That's all. That's all I got on Married to Medicine. And next week they're gonna get into the third part of the reunion where Simone and Quad are going at it. What's really happening with Simone and Quad? And I don't think it has anything to do about giving somebody your ass to kiss. Let's take the conversation to the chat.